Yeah.
I want to ask you about something you've done that our kuya Carlo Cannon has yet to do, and that is wrestle here
Uh-oh.
in Manila. So, do you
Oh,
remember anything
yeah.
from that trip in 2006? I'm not sure about Ro, but I was there in the
I was
crowd.
not there. I was not there.
I was there in the crowd at that show.
I believe I had a tag match, and I only know that
Yes,
because Brian and I were both there. We both got
I believe you were
sent
still champions at the time.
yes. So we got sent on like a dinner with a fan that won some contest the night before. And I don't think this fan could have given like two craps about us having been there because they were probably expecting like Batista and like some big star or something. It's like, you're gonna have dinner with the tag champs. It's like, who the hell is that? Right. So like we went to some restaurant and that was enjoyable. I mean, I loved it. I loved the whole time of being there. They were so paranoid about security for us. I remember because the hotel we were staying at, there was like
A
a
coup d'etat.
mall. I
Yeah.
think, yeah, there was like an entrance to like a mall shopping
Yes.
district
Yeah.
or something underneath.
Yes.
And they were like, you guys need to have security with you at all times and all that stuff. And I remember, I think Jamie Noble and I were like, are you kidding? Like, we're going to just go venture out. We went down to this mall and I was so close to trying Balut. Um, and I didn't. I regret it because I really wanted to try it. But I thought maybe Balut, like in this underground mall, might not be like the best place to try it.
Good
I don't
call.
know. Yeah, right. But funny enough, um, the thing I remember the most about that trip, and it will stay with me for the rest of my life, is I was literally scarred from that trip. And I don't know if you can see it. Mm, I have a small scar on my chin. It's kind of hard to tell because I've got some scruff, but I have a scar on my chin. Um, and I'll try to be quick with this little story. Uh, After the show, all the guys, they all wanted to go out. And in a foreign city like that, usually, especially when they're like, everyone needs to be really secure and like protected, like, we all ended up at this strip club. And um, I couldn't tell you which one it was, but we were all at this strip club. And I remember Jimmy Yang and I, because it's like one of my best buds, and we're just kind of sitting there. And the strip club was kind of like, it's very different than like an American strip club. I'll just put it that way. You're sitting there and you're talking, and there's like all these beautiful girls and stuff. And you're sitting there, and then all of a sudden you start getting like your shoulders rubbed, and you're sitting there and you're like, man, this is all right. And then you look, and it's like a guy like rubbing your shoulders, and he's like smiling, doing like the limo smile. He's like, I'm like, what the? No, I'm good. Like, I'm good, man. Like, I'm good. Thank you. It was just very weird, right? We were all very queer. Um, but anyways, like, so like all these like Lashley, all these guys started, they busted out the 151 and they started drinking like heavily, like all this stuff, and like passing around the shots. And like, it's like this group of like beefy wrestlers were all there in the strip club and like avoiding these like massages. And even like I went to like the bathroom to like take a piss, and I'm sitting there, and then all of a sudden this guy comes up and starts rubbing my shoulders. I'm like, okay, like, no, please, okay, like, look, I understand, like, it's a service, like, you're trying to be like hospitable. I don't want you touching me like when I'm taking a piss. Like, I don't need that. I'm good. Thank you. Um, and I get back and everyone's like taking their shirts off. All these wrestlers, like all these wrestlers. I'm like, that's weird. Like, I'm pretty sure we're here to see them take their shirts off, not us take our shirts off. So, needless to say, Jimmy Yang and I didn't play along with that little impromptu SmackDown wrestlers striptease. Um, but I got pretty hammered. I got pretty freaking hammered. And it got to the point where we were the show in this strip club. And the girls like decided to kind of like take a break or an intermission or something. And they started showing us around the strip club. And like we went on this little tour, this guided tour of the strip club. And I'm like getting super dizzy. I'm just like, oh my God, I feel like crap. Because I'm not like a big drinker. Like I can handle it, but I'm not, it's not like, I'd much rather enjoy Earth's flowers than liquor.
Hint,
And
hint.
so, yeah. And so they start showing us backstage, and I'm like, oh, so this is like the gorilla position, and like here's the entrance ramp, and like and like and they lead us back through the dressing room and through the gorilla and out onto the stage. And there was like 3 poles, I think, or like maybe 2 poles in this long stage, like the main stage. And I'm just getting really just kind of dizzy and nauseous, and everyone just starts kind of making their way back to the seats, and I stay on the stage. And I'm like, you know what? I think I'm just gonna take a seat on the stage, and I ended up taking like a little nap on the stage. Like I fell asleep on the stage for like a minute, off to the side, not like right in the middle, but like off to the side. And so I kind of wake up, and I'm like, where am I? Right? Like, oh my, like what is happening? And I'm a little more coherent, but I'm just like, oh my God, like what? And then I noticed that all the guys, like all the wrestlers, well, still shirtless, had made their way back to the seats, not on the stage. But I think it was even like some strippers like heel or something like stepped down near my head, like that kind of woke me up, like the hell's going on here? And I kind of like, and I saw that like all the boys were back in their seats. So I wasn't not, I was still very drunk, because in my head, all of a sudden I thought, you know what's going to be awesome? I'm going to pop the boys. This is going to be badass. I'm going to do a running home run slide across the stage, off the stage. I'll go flying in the air. I'll do a front flip, and I'll land in my seat and be like, hey! And like it totally made sense to me that this was possible. Mind you, they were probably like a good like 20 feet away from the stage. It wasn't like the seat was like right off the stage. It was like they were towards the back of the room. But somehow me like some bad like Steven Seagal movie, like sliding across on my stomach. Like I think it's like Belly of the Beast or something. There's like this terrible Seagal movie where like the opening sequence he does that, like he slides across the thing. It's so funny. Then I would like slide off and like Superman in the air, and then do like a front flip and like land on the chair and be like, ah. So what really happened was I take off like a couple of like drunken steps, and I dive, and I catch nothing but air, and then I come like chin first, falling straight down onto the stage, and I go bam, and like bust my chin open, and then just tumble off to the floor. And I get up, and I'm like, ah! And then I could just feel all this blood just go, and like I gigged hard way.
Yeah, you did.
On this stripper stage in Manila, while these girls are like trying to like continue their dances and stuff. And it's like when you get busted up in hard way, you just feel kind of like a wetness, like a rush of like water or wetness, right? And you're just like, oh shit. So I get back, and I'm trying to play it off, and Jimmy's like, hey, you're bleeding, man. I'm like, nah. I'm like, my whole forearm's like red because I'm just like going like that. And then sure enough, the guy, like, so I'm one of the girls or something, she was like, you need to be stitched up. Like, well, I was like, okay, like I'm not MacGyver. I don't know how to do that. And they're like, the only person that can stitch you up is pretty much the guy in the bathroom, who I was like, no, like, don't touch me when I'm pissing. yeah. I was like he was the only guy that like in this whole place that knew how to like give me butterfly stitches and suture me up. was the guy that I was like, "Don't touch me, dude! Like I got my dick in my hand. Like I don't need you touching me, man." So like, sure enough, I had to like walk back there, and I was like, "Excuse me, like I heard you were the guy to talk to." And, like he was so nice, but yeah, he stitched me up. So um, that's really my fondest memory of being in Manila is getting busted open like an idiot, diving chin first on a stripper stage,
I
and
mean,
now
I
I
hate
have
that you
like
got
this
injured.
scar.
I hate
Oh,
that
I
you got
love
injured,
it.
but I love that we got to ask you that question.
I love it. Are you kidding? I'm always like so proud whenever like unless I'm like laying there with somebody, they're like, "What happened to your chin?" I'm like, "Well, uh, like it's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous, right?" So
That's a hell of a story. Oh my god.
yeah, and when people are like, I'm like, "Yeah, actually, I got this scar in Manila." They're like, "Oh my god, you got like in a street fight?" And I'm like, "Not exactly. Just got